This is Mrs. Daw, and today we are talking about lesson 102, which is tenths and hundredths on a number line. When we're working with a number line, the first thing we have to understand is the relationship of what our tick marks mean. Now, I have a number line here, and it doesn't really mean very much because it's just all of these little tick marks, and we need some more information to understand distances and to understand values. So I'm going to give you some information. This number line has the whole numbers of 5 and 6, and then this is going to be 7. And so with that in mind, then we can begin figuring out what this means. First, for your notes, I would like you to write down all number lines do not have the same number of tick marks. For us to figure out relationships, the first thing you need to do is count the tick marks between the whole numbers so that you know what they represent. Let's do that. Here we have our number line, and we have 5, 6, and 7. So we need to figure out what these little tick marks represent. So I'm going to start counting. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That lets me know that there are 10 tick marks in between. The same will hold true for this, but we'll verify. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, because we know that there are 10 tick marks between this, we also know that our fraction, the denominator of our fraction, will be 10. Let's look at this little point here. We have 5, it's in between 5 and 6. Let's count the tick marks. And notice that I don't count the one where I'm right on the whole number, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that this point right here is 6/10. However, we need to also remember that it's in between 5 and 6. So please remember to include the whole number 5. And when I'm saying this, 5 and 6/10, I say to myself, this sounds familiar. Why does this sound familiar? Because this is how we can also say 5 and 6/10 in decimal number form. I'll just write it on top of this number 5. Let's see, I'm going to write it a little bigger for you so you can see it better. 5 and 6/10. Simple. Now, let's look at this point right here. Here's our number 6, and we need to count tick marks in. So we count 1, 2. We know that our denominator is going to be 10, and we know that it's 2 in. Don't forget our whole number of 6 and 2/10. Now, I'm going to take a marker and make this more visible. Now, with this point, we can also convert it to a fraction or to a decimal, 6 and 2/10. Now, let's chat about measurement, because you will notice that when we have 10 parts between each whole number, that it's looking very similar to what we see when it comes to measurement of meters, centimeters, and millimeters. For every one, see, I'm going to write this in pink. For 1 meter, there are 100 centimeters. And one centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. Does that make sense? The other part is millimeters. Each meter has 1,000 millimeters because there are 10 millimeters within each centimeter. We will chat more about this in the practice set. Finally, I need to mention rounding, and I'm going to fix this issue. Let's see, I'm going to change this to 6, and I hope you do too. We need to think about when we're rounding to the nearest whole number. As you can see in this point right here, this is 5 6/10. The nearest whole number, it is 4 away from, it's greater than 5, so we round up to 6. Now, 6 2/10, which is this point right here, you can see it's very obvious that the nearest whole number to it is the number 6. And there you have it. This is the lesson for 102 tenths and hundredths on a number line. Please join me for the practice set.